Nature is complex, so you do not have to be. This is a very important statement that you should meditate on. Nature is complex, so you do not have to be. How can this be explained in the simplest way? I'm going to give you 3 ways of explaining it. 2 that I know that I'm going to speak about right now, and 1 that I'll make up on the way there. One way is if you look at a piece of celery and you have a group of people that will tell you that celery has no calories and it's pointless to eat. There's nothing going on there. And you've got another group of people, and there's more than 2 groups of people. Then you got another group of people that go, that's a vegetable. It's good to eat. It's fiber rich and it's going to clean me. Then you've got scientists that study it from one angle, and you've got another set of scientists that study it from another angle. And then you have a group of scientists that got into what they would call, so you have the macro scientists and the micro scientists. They got into micronutrition. And they've come out with and delivered at least 10,000 different micronutrients that exist in a piece of celery. That you'd have to be a genius, beyond all levels of genius, to name them all and know, because the names are all obviously Latin, hybridized, 20 letters long, gamma hydroxy, codone, philancher. The names are gonna, because they've found these supposedly different micromolecules that have a ton to do with health. So now, if we were to look at everything in nature with that lens, that there are 10,000 micronutrients, and that's just what they've named, and every food out there has different levels and bars of each, a little bit of vitamin. We're in macronutrients, vitamin A, whatever that is, and beta carotene, and if you didn't know, beta carotene just basically means orange. It means orange in Latin. All of the things that you think are really interesting names, a lot of them are just speaking to the color of the food, which has to do with the nutritional value as well. But when we look at it from this level of, this piece of celery, it has 10,000. Could you imagine looking at all the foods that way and thinking, what do I need for my body? And then you'd have to take your blood sample, and you'd have to take the blood samples all over your body, because you realize not all your blood is getting everywhere. You eat a small amount of food, it's not in all of your blood. It's not going to disperse everywhere perfectly. Some of your veins are broken. Some of your veins are not working well. Some of your lymph system isn't working well. You've got clogs places. You're not getting all of the nutrition everywhere in your body. I can say this because I look at my toe and I'm like, man, this toe right here, this toenail's been screwed up for years. I know why. I can. I've broke my ankle so many times. I've done so much damage to my foot that I have dilemmas with my ankle. Well, I mean, that's obvious to me. I can see it as a holistic system, and I can go and I can backtrack it. I'll get to this in a second about backtracking that injury and why, this idea of specialists don't make any sense. We'll get to that in a second. So we got these. So I explained it from this level of celery. You know how complicated things are. You would never be able to figure out what you need. You never could. It would be way too much, and that's where it's going. And then you've got this other group of people that, then there's the second level of how to explain this, of this complication that is everywhere, and that there's so many people that study so many things with so many microscopes. No, let's just look into it a little farther. Let's look into it a little more. Maybe we can find it. Maybe we can find that one thing. It's in there somewhere. And that goes into finding the atom, then finding the quark, and finding the God particle, and find a higher power microscope, and you'll find something inside of that. A whole universe, maybe. Who knows, right? But then you've got this other way of looking at how is it that the statement I made was nature is complicated, so you don't have to be. What about all these dumb animals? And if you don't think they're dumb, well then, good for you. Then you know what's up. But you go and look at these animals. They don't speak your language. You can't ask them, but you can observe what they're doing. And you can observe these animals and what do they eat. You can see a lot of these animals are on mono diets, like very, very small, maybe not mono, but very small amount of different kinds of food. They're not really eating a lot of different kind of things. Especially if you, and then you look at like, okay, well, which animal do I want to be like? Do I want to be like a strong rhino? What do they eat? Oh, well, they're vegetarians. Huh. Look at all these giant animals. They're all vegetarians. Maybe. Oh, well, I'm not anything like them. But, and these are the same people like, okay, well, you're like a monkey though, right? You're like a gorilla. You're like a, what animal? Where did you come from? Well, you evolved from an ape, right? Oh, so not a monkey or a gorilla. I'm so sorry. Let me get it proper. You came from an ape. What were those apes eating? What do they eat? Oh, and you're evolved from them, I see. So why are you not eating what they're eating? Oh, because you made the smarter move, and somehow you started eating lots of meat and consuming death, and somehow that ape, you couldn't go live in its, you couldn't go live with it. You couldn't go get into its clan. It would kill you. It wouldn't want you there. You stink of blood. And on top of that, do you know how much stronger that ape is than you? How if you're so smart, if we evolved from that, how did we become weaker? It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? What about the hair on our head? They don't have long hair on their head. They don't grow hair like ours. Why do we what is the function of our hair to grow long? Doesn't seem like we have one. Doesn't seem like it's really there unless we know something about telekinesis. But I don't know. Okay, why did we get weaker? Grow long hair and then we grow beards? They don't grow beards. They don't have the facial hair like we do. Why do they have back hair and we have chest hair? Doesn't seem very right, does it? So there's a lot of things going on here. So let's just, I just got to throw that little jab in there at people that really are sticking into this delusion of evolution, because there's holes like Swiss cheese everywhere. You're being taken on a long ride that isn't for your benefit. It's making people dumber. Even if people believe this, even if the people that are studying this really believe that, it's because they have so many microscopes, they're looking so far into something, they didn't stand back and look at the whole picture. And this has to do with holistic view of things. So what would these animals be eating? That's a way, because these animals, they didn't need any microscopes, they don't need telescopes, but yet they've survived just as long as we have. They're just as intelligent, if not more intelligent. They have more strength. And I'm going to pause that right here, and I'll get back to y'all. Don't you worry, there'll be a part 2 to this, but I have a guest that I must tend to. Talk soon, y'all.